What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this video is all about why I believe that Justin Gaethje should 100% fight for the title next against Islam Makhachev. And I'm going to go through all my reasons why by explaining why I think it would be a more interesting fight, a more interesting matchup, and a well-deserved matchup compared to anybody else that could potentially be in title contention. So we're going to go through the whole list. Obviously, I'm looking at the lightweight rankings. So the person that's not on here that we'll also have to discuss is Ilia Topuria. And then I'm going to also explain what I think an insane outcome could be depending on a lot of things going the right way. It's probably not the most probable and likely outcome, but it would be so cool if it happens. So let's break this down in terms of, first we're going to start off with some of the possibilities. So obviously we look at the rankings, and I think outside of the top 5, nobody is even in the conversation. Right down here at 7, we have Michael Chandler. He just fought and lost. Dan Hooker obviously has a broken hand. He's out right now. Max Holloway wouldn't make sense. And besides, the rumors are that Dustin Poirier is fighting Max Holloway for Dustin's retirement fight. Those are the rumors. That's what I've been hearing. We'll see if that materializes. Okay, now we get to the top 3. So, of course, we have Charles Oliveira. Now, a lot of people were saying after his last victory against Michael Chandler that he would potentially be up next for the title shot. Of course, Arman got it instead. He was a fresher matchup, even though he had fought Islam a long time ago, but they gave it to Arman. Arman's been doing amazing, and Arman beat Charles Oliveira, so it made sense. But anyways, so Charles was not lined up for that Islam fight back in January. And of course, Islam, I actually, that was been too close anyways to Charles's last fight, but Islam went in and had to fight Moicano, last minute replacement. We know what happened there. So we could argue that maybe Charles is up next and ready to go. Okay, I'll accept that. The other option is, of course, going back to Arman Tsarukyan, but we all know what happened there. Now, some people are still saying, like Daniel Cormier earlier today said, hey, Arman Tsarukyan was supposed to fight Islam, but he didn't due to a back injury during the weight cut, etc. As we've mentioned multiple times on this channel, recently made a video not too long ago as well, again, about Arman Tsarukyan. I don't believe that it was truly an injury. I believe it was a weight cutting issue. Justin, my co-host on the podcast, said that himself, who's a professional fighter, a UFC vet, and he made a very compelling argument that convinced me that this was indeed a weight issue masked as an injury. Now, again, he agreed to step in as a late replacement for the Justin Gaethje fight and publicly said, I would have done it. I just needed to only go to 160. I couldn't have made 155 in the short notice. Justin Gaethje later came out and said, nah, he said 160, but he actually wanted 170. He's lying. So to me, that further confirms that this was a weight issue. Why do I mention that? Because there's no way that Dana White is going to slot him in next to fight Islam after he pulled out last time. Again, if this is true, due to a weight management issue. So I don't think Arman is going to be up next whatsoever. And I think the UFC is going to punish him, make him fight somebody. Okay. So now we have between Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. Justin Gaethje is off a fresh win. He was supposed to once again fight Dan Hooker instead. Wasn't his fault. Dan Hooker had to pull out because of a broken hand. People might say, oh, he fought Rafael Fiziev, who was only ranked 11th. Not his fault, not his problem. He took what was offered to him and he won. So he is fresh off a victory. Charles Oliveira is fresh off a victory. So between those two, okay, I'd say they both have an equal claim, equal stake to that title shot. The reason why I feel that Justin Gaethje should edge out Charles Oliveira is twofold. Number one, Justin Gaethje was in line to get the title shot, but then he took the Max Holloway fight. So he was ready to go. He didn't have to take that fight. In my opinion, he did the UFC a solid by helping to spruce up UFC 300, took him on for the BMF belt, had his nose broke in round 1, made it all the way through until he got knocked out. But he did a solid for the UFC. So I almost think he should be in their good graces, and that would edge him out for a fight before Charles Oliveira. Secondly, he's a fresh matchup. It would be so much more exciting, in my opinion, to see Justin Gaethje go up against Islam than to have Charles have the rematch. Although I do want Charles to fight again eventually for the belt, but I'd love to see Justin Gaethje first. And Justin Gaethje would be an incredible matchup. Remember what he did to Khabib. Yes, Khabib won by triangle choke, but Justin Gaethje was doing tremendous damage with those low leg kicks. So I think he's got a real chance to beat Islam. Most people are saying Islam would probably win. That's fair, but at least let's give it a shot. Also, so I would say Justin Gaethje gets the edge there. Plus, he's got a more recent win than Charles Oliveira. You could say Charles Oliveira beat a higher ranked opponent. Again, that's not his fault. He was supposed to fight. What's his name? Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker had to pull out broken hand. So again, so I would say that gives Justin Gaethje the advantage there. Now here's the wild card. Okay, the wild card is Ilia Topuria. So people are saying that obviously Ilia has, I don't know why this isn't still up here, because he's vacated the title. He's moved up to lightweight. So he's now in contention. I don't know what his ranking would be in lightweight. Never fought in lightweight. So maybe he's unranked. But that's the other possibility. So Ilia against Islam. Now, I think most people will say, no, we want to see Ilia fight Islam over Justin. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. So number one, he does not want to fight Ilia, because, or at least that's what his managers and people have been saying, because he feels that the victory won't do that much for his legacy, and he's interested in legacy. Ilia will be considered a blown up featherweight, and that's the second time that he's done, technically the third time if you consider both Alexander Volkanovski fights. So it's not something that Islam wants. It doesn't get me excited as a result. Conversely, if we look at Justin Gaethje coming into the mix, Justin Gaethje is a vet of the game. He's a former interim champ of the lightweight division. He has beaten legends in this division. And again, he felt he was a couple leg kicks away from beating Khabib. I don't know if that's true or not, but he was doing damage to those legs. So he put up a great fight against Khabib. Let's see him against Islam. I want to see that matchup, not to mention Justin Gaethje is one of the most popular fighters in the UFC. I say this fight first. Now, for those of you who are arguing for Ilia to take the title shot instead, there are other matchups for Ilia. He is saying that there's going to be a huge announcement soon that's going to blow the socks off of everyone. Assuming there's one possibility that has been thrown out. I don't know if people really believe this or if this is even realistic, but Ilia might fight Conor McGregor is the theory, because he's saying it's going to be huge. Okay, if he fights Conor McGregor, it's got to be Gaethje for the title. If he is not planning to fight Conor McGregor, I would love to see Ilia take on a number of opponents. I would love to see him fight Charles Oliveira. Maybe put him against Arman Tsarukyan. Maybe that's how the UFC rectifies things. You got to face Ilia, a super tough challenge, somebody that is likely favored to beat you. And then if you can come out of that and take Ilia down, now you can get a title shot. So to me, that would be the perfect scenario. Put Ilia against Arman Tsarukyan if Conor's out of the picture. Let Islam fight Gaethje. Now, imagine this. There's a crazy scenario that could unfold if the UFC does it this way. Imagine Ilia goes out and fights Arman. Then imagine Paddy goes in a month and just destroys Michael Chandler. Okay, Michael Chandler ranked number 7th. Excuse me. Where would Paddy go in the rankings? 5th, 4th, 3rd? Who knows? Depends on how definitively he gets that win. But if he gets a great win, Ilia, this is total fantasy. Ilia beats Arman. Islam then beats Gaethje and says, you know what? I want to move up to welterweight. I'm done in the lightweight division. I've beaten all the legends. Let me move up. Vacates the title. I'm just imagining. This is probably not going to happen, but I think it would be amazing. And then we have a vacant title and they slot in Ilia versus Paddy. Grudge match for the lightweight challenge. Huge fight. Could be one of the biggest fights in the history of the UFC. We got a grudge match. We got 2 superstars. Imagine, just imagine. So let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me. The main takeaway is let's have Justin Gaethje fight Islam next for the title at some point in the spring or late spring, early summer, whatever it may be, maybe even International Fight Week. I say that's the fight to make. I hope everything else unfolds as I described. I want to see Ilia fight Paddy so badly. Anyways, there it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree or disagree? And thank you so much for joining. Like this video if you did like it, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.